Hello, my name is Mr. Epifano, and I'm here to teach you about how a bill becomes a law. Now, in order to understand how a bill becomes a law, we have to understand what a bill is. A bill is a proposed or suggested law. It isn't a law until it goes through the whole process to become one. You can kind of think of a bill as an idea for a law before it actually becomes a law. Now, step one is to introduce the bill to Congress. All right. Now, a bill can come from a variety of sources. It can come from citizens like you and me, or it can come from like companies or businesses. Now, even though the idea may come from a citizen like you and me, or it may come from a business, it still has to be introduced to Congress by a congressman. So, in order to get your idea for a bill passed, if you wanted to, you can either write to your local congressman or you can send them an email through their website. All right. Now, a bill can start in either house. Now, when these bills are introduced, they're written down. If it's introduced in the Senate, on the piece of paper, it'll have an S in the beginning. S for Senate, as you see in the example. S period 1231 period IS. Or this bill or idea can start in the House of Representatives, which on a piece of paper, it'll begin with HR, which is H for House, R for Representatives. Now, step two is to assign the bill to what's called a committee. Both the Senate and the House have groups of politicians who meet to discuss ways to improve a bill before it is voted on. All right? Now, these committees can do one or two things. They can either mark up the bill, which is a term that means to edit the bill, to spice it up a little bit, to make it more appealing. Or they can do what's called pigeonhole it or kill the bill in a committee. So if the bill gets to them and they're like, man, this is really not going to be a good idea for our country, they can just kill the bill right there and it won't become a law. Now, step three, the bill is reported to the floor. If the bill is passed by the committee, it is sent to the whole House of Congress for presentation and vote. Either the Senate or the House of Representatives will start on this, based on where the bill was introduced in the first place. Now, the Speaker of the House determines which bills are discussed and for exactly how long. Now, step four, the bill is voted on in the House. Now, votes are done electronically in the House, all right? So it's not like in the classroom where we're like, okay, vote on this. What's your favorite ice cream? Oh, I love vanilla. I'm going to vote on that. No, it's not like that at all, all right? It's cool. They have electronic stuff to do that for them. Now, a tote board on the wall, which is just a big display, shows the tallies, as you can see on the right-hand side. Now, if it's red, as you can see on the right-hand side, that means they're opposed to the bill, they don't like it, they want to get rid of it. If it's green, they agree with the bill, they think this should keep going and eventually become a law. And if it's yellow, they're abstaining from vote, which means they just refuse to vote. They don't want to vote for reasons we don't know. Now, if it's actually passed in the House of Representatives, the bill is sent to the U.S. Senate. Now, the Senate also holds a committee and hearings and makes changes to the bill, sort of like it did with the committees before that edited the bill to spice it up to make it more appealing or to make it better. Now, the committee can report the bill to the Senate floor, which means they can say, hey, we should really vote on this. Now, step six, the bill is debated and voted on in the Senate. Now, the cool thing about the Senate is they hold these huge debates and speeches about the bill, whether they like the bill and they think it should become a law, or whether they really don't like the bill and say it shouldn't become a law. Now, if the Senate doesn't want a bill to pass, they can do something called a filibuster. All right, now a filibuster is a cool stalling tactic the Senate can use to delay voting. I'm going to talk more about filibusters right now, but actually later on in the week, we're going to talk about filibusters and how they're a cool tactic to waste time, or in sports terms, like run the clock. If people are tired of a filibuster, they can call for a cloture, which is where 3/5 or 60 members of the Senate agree to end the debate immediately right there. They can vote, we've had enough, and if 60 of them vote, the debate ends right there. Now, both houses, all right, the Senate and the House of Representatives, must pass this bill. A simple majority in both houses is needed to pass the bill, which is 51%. All right, that's called a simple majority because 1% more than half, all right, need to vote on it. Now, in the House of Representatives, that means 218 votes are needed to control the House. And in the Senate, 51 senators are needed to pass the bill and control the Senate. Now, this next cool part is if the bill is so awesome that it gets through the House of Representatives and gets through the Senate and it gets through the voting process of both houses, all right, the simple majority, the 51%, that bill is sent to the president. Now, we just talked about checks and balances, so in order for the president to check and balance the Congress, remember, he has to pass these laws. So the president can sign the bill if he wants to become a law. Or if the president doesn't like the bill, even though it passed through House of Representatives and passed through Senate, his check and balance is that he can do what's called veto, which is a Latin word which means I forbid it. The president can choose not to act on the bill. If Congress is in session, the bill becomes a law after 10 days. So if the president doesn't do anything after 10 days, it becomes a law. If Congress is not in session, however, the bill dies after 10 days. This is called a pocket veto, which means the president didn't actually veto it, but just the clock ran out when Congress was not in session, and it automatically gets denied. Now, if the president vetoes the bill, both houses can reconsider the bill. So the president says, no, I veto it. It can get kicked back to Congress, and if 2/3, which is 67% of both houses, vote, they can override the president's veto. In the House, that means 369 votes are needed, and in the Senate, 67 votes are needed. If the president signs the bill, it becomes a federal law that each state must follow. Remember, we talked about federal before. Federal means the entire country. And there you have it, folks. So we have the bill that, since it goes on its journey through the House of Representatives and the Senate and is voted on by the entire Congress, goes to the president, and he passes it, and it becomes a federal law. Once again, my name is Mr. Epifano, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Goodbye.